1,000 people currently watching around the world, so say hi to the world, everybody! So, I wanted to start by telling you guys a story. Are you sitting comfortably? It gets more teachery by the minute, doesn't it? So, I want to tell you a story about a couple of guys. Myself, Dylan Walker, on the left, and my good friend and colleague, Ian Rowlands. Now, I think we like to think of ourselves as a couple of fairly average blokes, average guys, not particularly intelligent, if I'm honest. We like beer, we really like beer. We like sport, but we also like the sea. The sea is just amazing for us. And perhaps the most amazing aspect of that incredible place are these animals, whales and dolphins. So, you know, for us, like millions of other people who do know a little bit about cetaceans, we, over the years, have found it kind of pretty sad, incredible, and really worrying. That we should be in a situation where, for example, a dolphin, an amazing symbol of our natural environment, could go extinct, like the Yangtze River dolphin has. And that we still hunt animals across the world in some pretty horrendous ways. And yet, there are others who believe that whales and dolphins are our cousins, our equals, maybe even our betters in the oceans. And that we keep animals whose wild territories would be as large as a major European nation in a tank that's not too much bigger than some of the swimming pools we might attend in our local towns and cities. So all these things kind of worry us, as they worry you guys. So we decided we wanted to do something about it. And when you've had a few beers, it's amazing how much you can come up with in terms of changing the world. And the way we thought we could do it is we thought, well, let's bring the global community of people who are really passionate about these animals together. And who knows what we could achieve if we did that. Sounds pretty simple. So this is how we decided to do it. We decided to create Planet Whale, and we looked at our community and we divided it into three major groups. The NGO sector, the charities, the organisations put in so much passion and time to help these animals, and we discovered through our own research that there were over 200 of those organisations working around the world specifically, or it was a major part of their work on cetaceans. We were bowled over. Really? 200? Why have they never been in the same room together? That would be amazing. We also looked at the whale and dolphin watching industry. Lots of work going on there. We know there are over 2,000 businesses around the world in over 120 countries, thanks to the IFOR statistics. 13 million people they're taking out. Wow, what an amazing community. What if we were to combine these communities? How can we get these communities working more closely together? And then finally, the biggest constituent of all, and the big nut to crack if we're really going to make a change, the 7 billion and growing global population, our general public, the people. How do we make sure that we absolutely involve people in our actions on our planet? That's the critical thing. So these are the things that we were talking about in our pub in Brighton. And after we kind of made up our plan on the back of a beer mat, we thought, well, we need to talk to some other people about it, see if they think it was just a bit of a drunken idea or whether it's got some legs to it. And so we started talking to some of our stakeholders that we know, and the same phrase kept bouncing back to us. They kept saying, oh, you're never going to be able to do that. You won't. It sounds good in theory, but you can't change the world like that. It's been tried before. It's like herding cats. They kept saying it's like herding cats. Well, I'm a bit naive and I wasn't really sure what that meant, so I thought, well, I'll look into it. What does herding cats actually mean? So allow me to play you this short video, which will explain to you what herding cats is all about.
This man right here is my great-grandfather. He's the first cat herder in our family.
Herding cats. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy.
Anybody can herd cattle. Holding together 10,000 half wild short hairs, well, that's another thing altogether.
Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
I got this one this morning, right here, and if you look at his face, it's just ripped to shreds, you know?
To see the movies, you hear the stories, I'm living a dream. Not everyone can do what we do.
I wouldn't do nothing else.
It ain't an easy job, but when you bring a herd into town and you ain't lost a one of them, ain't a feeling like in the world.
EBS, managing the complexities of e-business.
I think EBS deserve great credit for that. So a round of applause for them. So, we kind of realised what herding cats meant. It meant that people don't want to work together. That's what it meant. But we kind of thought, oh, come on, surely we can. It's not that hard. So we decided to put a plan. We decided if we were going to create a global partnership of organisations and individuals working to protect cetaceans, we really needed to talk to some of the guys at the top of the tree first of all. So we invited some of the largest NGOs that deal with whales and dolphins from around the world to a meeting, because we really were interested to get their ideas, their experience and their support, not necessarily financially, although that would be handy, but in terms of the commitment towards this concept. So we brought them to Brighton. They finally came to Brighton. I don't need to name them. They all know who they are. And we sat down and talked about the issues and whether some kind of global network or partnership could really be the future. And these are some of the things that we discussed. We discussed the fact that we need to do a lot more if we are to help cetaceans. This is the question we put to these organisations. They agreed with that. We said, is a global partnership a good idea in principle? They said yes. We said, look, the whales need us to work together and to be more effective. They really agreed with that. In fact, there was a lot of agreement in the room that we weren't being anywhere near effective enough, an acknowledgement of the current situation. Would you support this concept and help to take it forward? No. Do you think that others will be able to work together in partnership to take this forward? No. There is an acknowledgement that the current situation and the current status quo, or we'd all as individuals like it to change, but somehow it's just not possible for it to change. I think the people in this room and the vast community beyond that actually believe something different. And it's our job to take that forward. So, I was talking to Ian about this back in the car, and he was saying, this reminds me of something. This reminds me of something from my youth that summarises this kind of current situation. So we wanted to show you that. But I must say to everybody in the room and outside, if you don't want to hear bad language then for the next 2 minutes, please either leave the room or switch off your webcams, because we're just going to show you a little video here.
Are you Judean people's son? Fuck off. What? Judean people's front. The people's front of Judea. Judean people's front. Come on. Can I join your group? Now, piss off. I didn't want to sell this stuff. It's only a job. I hate the Romans as much as any boss.
Are you sure?
Oh, dead sure. I hate the Romans already. Listen, if you wanted to join the PFJ, you don't have to really hate the Romans. I do. Oh yeah, how much? A lot. Right, you're in. Listen, the only people we hate more than the Romans are fucking Judean people. And the Judeans, with the people from and the people's front of Judea. the People's Roots of Judea. Splitters, we're the People's Front of Judea. Oh, I thought we were the Popular Front. People's Front! Where's that for the Popular Front?
We go there.
So, that, in Ian's mind and mine as well, is kind of a little bit of a comical summary of where we kind of are right now and where we've been wasting a lot of time over the last 20 years, and we have to move on. We can move on. And do you know what? I want to give a real shout out to some mentors of mine, really. I've been extremely fortunate, Ian too, in the UK, to have been associated through friends, really, with an organisation that proves beyond doubt that it can be done. And I think this is just such a critical thing. So there is a global partnership of nature conservation organisations. It's absolutely incredible. Here you can see all of the logos. It's called BirdLife International, and John Fanshawe right at the back there somewhere. Give us a wave, John. John works for BirdLife. So I just want to give a shout out to Gary Allport on the left-hand side of the picture here, who has been a tremendous mentor of mine working for BirdLife. John at the back, and also Hazel Thompson. And I've known these guys for years. And they are amazing people, and they work for partnership all of the time. And what they are achieving for bird conservation, I will leave John to explain to you, but it's given us the courage, I think, to keep pushing forward with doing something similar for cetaceans. So I want to kind of bring that through to you. And I also want to say that with all of these issues around politics and people not wanting to talk to each other and sharing ideas, I asked the guys at BirdLife, well, how have you overcome that? What have you done that we haven't managed to do? And John and Gary basically said to me, look, you just have to keep your focus on the issue. Make sure that everybody is focused on your end goal, and soon the politics will actually just fall away. Positive environment, working together, focus on the issue, differing views of course, but the politics fall away. And that's the job that we have ahead of us. Let's keep our eyes on the prize. So, I would like to just quickly show you now an example from BirdLife of how they are delivering for bird conservation through the partnership. And whilst we watch this video, I want you guys to be thinking about this for whales and dolphins. This, what they have now, is what we will have in the future. So without further ado.
They call it Haraban, the forest of hope, one of the richest tropical rainforests on Earth. A refuge within the most threatened forests of Asia. BirdLife partners are working together to restore and conserve, whilst ensuring traditional lifestyles and livelihoods of the indigenous people there. We are pioneering a new way of conservation using the world's first forest restoration legislation. A model for a sustainable future. Haraban, a true forest of hope.
In the remote waters of the Southern Atlantic Ocean, we are tackling one of nature's least known crises. Hundreds of thousands of seabirds drown each year on fish hooks, needlessly. So we formed an outdoors task force, spending months at sea working with local fishermen, testing and finding solutions that are good for birds and fishermen. Our work is keeping albatrosses off the hook.
The people and wildlife of the Sahel are living on the edge. Their fates are interwoven. It's complicated. Many countries, many sites. We are working together to protect natural resources and to create a better future for both people and wildlife. Just as in Harima, the Southern Oceans and Burkina Faso, every day on every continent, our partnership is taking local action for nature and for people.
Mangroves in the Caribbean and the Atlantic forests of South America.
It's a Central Asian step.
And fighting illegal hunting in the Mediterranean.
Supporting the growth of the largest civil society partnership for nature and people.
I am BirdLife.
I am BirdLife.
I'm good luck.
I am BirdLife.
I am good luck.
I'm BirdLife.
I am Global Africa.
We are BirdLife.
We are the World Cetacean Alliance, and that is our future. But I think the BirdLife partners, our partners, deserve a second round of applause for everything they do. Okay, so you can tell we're on a pretty steep learning curve here, and we're incredibly fortunate because we also, amongst our many things that we get up to, we run a big whale festival because we believe in reaching out to the wider public. And that whale festival takes place in Brighton. We're going to talk about it more later. And we wanted to use the whale festival last year, Whale Fest, as a tool to test our theory of partnership. So we, Ian actually, came up with an idea for a campaign. The festival last year was celebrating a sort of spine-tingling anniversary. It was the 30th anniversary of the moment where the International Whaling Commission stood together and banned whaling, when they agreed the moratorium. And that took place in the Whale Fest venue, the Hilton Hotel in Brighton. So we were back 30 years later, and we wanted to be back with a big plaque for these animals. So we invented a little campaign, and we called it Save the Whales, like it was called in the 70s and the 80s, but we called it Save the Whales Reloaded. So, the plan for Save the Whales Reloaded, as I mentioned, is we wanted to find out whether the organisations and individuals out there who really care about these animals were willing, in principle, to work in partnership. So we effectively designed a pledge, and that pledge, I'll quickly read it to you, was 3 very, very simple statements, which I don't think anyone in this room would probably walk away from. So, 1, together we can achieve so much more than we can alone. 2, everybody deserves a say in how we manage our oceans, including important decisions that affect whales and dolphins. And 3, whales and dolphins desperately need us to help, to speak with one voice if we are to protect them and their ocean habitats before it was too late. So that was our pledge, and we asked people to sign up to that pledge. And we had a phenomenal response. I can't remember the exact figures, I think it was over 80 organisations in a very short period, and a huge number of individuals signed up to say, yeah, we agree with that pledge, and we would like, in principle, to work together. So, we launched our Save the Whales Reloaded campaign at Whale Fest. We talked about it a lot. We had some amazing murals. We repeated what happened 30 years ago when there were thousands of people stood outside campaigning to save the whales. We went back out there. We produced this. It said, "We pledge not to fail the whale." It was a really amazing event for those people that were there. Big numbers of people, all the banners. It was absolutely fantastic. We had important dignitaries. This is Caroline Lucas of the Green Party in the UK. Eric Hoyt, some of you will recognise, global whale expert on marine protected areas, amongst other things. we had music like Live Aid. We had Save the World with loaded musicians playing. It was absolutely amazing. But perhaps the most amazing thing is that we met and we talked about, can we do this? And for those people who were in that first World Whale Conference, I think it was really an amazing moment. There was so much positive attitude towards some of the ideas that we discussed. And people were prepared to commit. It was the complete opposite of the meeting we had prior. Everybody was there signing up to pledges, saying we want to get involved with these issues, which we mentioned before, like Maori dolphins and killer whales in captivity. And we were like, oh wow, we are definitely on something here. People are up for the concept of collaboration, which is great. But when Whalefest finished, everybody went home. We went back to our office and the winter came. We then thought, oh crumbs, what are we going to do now? We've actually got to start this thing. We've told everybody, we've agreed that we're going to form a global partnership. So we spent the winter getting some advice from people like the BirdLife guys, talking to our potential partners, and getting our ducks in a row really, trying to think how we should work this thing. And one of the first things we decided that we needed to do was we needed a name. But we thought, well, we can't name this organisation. We need the global community to do that for us. This is a global partnership. We don't have partners yet. So we ran an online tool. We had people voting in over 40 countries around the world for the name of the organisation. And this was the result. Wasn't the one that I personally expected. The World Cetacean Alliance was the winner by a long, long way. I know that people in the UK and America sometimes struggle with the word cetacean, but in Latin-speaking countries, it's really it's the commonly used word for whales and dolphins, so it's well understood, and that's the name of the organisation. So that was the first step. Great, we have a name. Second step, we could do with some credibility and somebody to give us some support, and thanks in huge part to Ingrid. Is it Ingrid Visser? She asked Jean-Michel Cousteau. Jean-Michel Cousteau agreed to be our honorary president for the WCA. Unfortunately, he can't be here at the conference, but he has sent us a video. We're going to show that video tomorrow to you guys. So that was a huge step forward. Another step forward, BirdLife, the guys that have done it before, agreed to be our official advisory partner for the World Cetacean Alliance. So we have their support and their backing, and most importantly, their knowledge and experience. That was a huge moment for us. So then we're thinking, well, we better actually put some framework in place for this organisation. So we developed some principles. Quickly read these to you. These are our principles. To actively seek recognition and influence as the largest international network of experts and advocates for cetaceans. 2, to involve the widest possible stakeholder community, and especially the general public, in all our agreed strategies, policies and programmes, globally, regionally and locally. 3, to seek innovative and positive, go back to the chart there, positive solutions to the issues affecting cetaceans by adopting an inclusive, solutions-driven approach at all times. And finally, as the global partnership empowered to speak with one voice to protect cetaceans and their habitats, we recognise the value of collaboration and respect the ideas and principles of all of our partners as equals. So these were our principles. And we also talked about inclusivity. We wanted to make sure that we included our 3 stakeholder groups. But we also had a problem. Our funding, which Clive has mentioned earlier, we had to fund some of the time and energy we needed to put into making this happen. We had no other alternative at the beginning than to charge our partners to be involved. So that's what we did. We looked at a 2-tier scheme, depending on where you were in the world in terms of fee. We asked our whale and dolphin watching businesses and our NGOs to pay the same fee, which you can see up here. And we asked for a larger fee from any large NGOs with registered offices in 3 or more countries. We figured they could afford it. And we also asked for a much smaller fee for any individual member of the public to join the Alliance as well. So you can see those things there. So finally, we got to the day when we were going to launch the World Cetacean Alliance. And I've got to be honest, we weren't quite as organised as we wanted to be. We didn't have a website, and we didn't have a logo. So we were a bit of a panic. So in that panic, I phoned my friend Scott, and he made us a website in 24 hours, which was incredible. And we had a volunteer working for us at the time, and I said, you've got to make a logo. So we took the Save the Whales Reloaded logo, we took out the text, we kept the image, we went into PowerPoint, no kidding, we added those words there, and that is the logo that we currently have. So it's amazing what you can achieve at the last minute when you're really up against it. So it just happened to be, and I think this is a happy coincidence that might really work in our favour, but when we were about to launch, it was about 5 days off World Oceans Day. So we delayed the launch. We thought, surely we should make the most of our anniversary every year, combine it with World Oceans Day. So we launched on the 8th of June, World Oceans Day, and I've got to be honest, we totally held our breath at that moment, because we were asking organisations and individuals for money. It's completely different to just a pledge. We put all this time and effort in, and we just didn't, in all honesty, know what was going to happen. What happened, in my opinion, was incredible. So this was World Oceans Day, the start of the World Cetacean Alliance. And if you look in the bottom left-hand corner here, you can see what we call our global reach. This is the reach of the partnership through either the number of customers coming on with a whale watching company over the course of the year, the number of members or supporters of an organisation or NGO, or the number of social media contacts, Facebook likes, for example, of our individual partners, NGO partners, and whale watching partners. So I just want to take you through the sequence of what happened over the next few weeks and months. And remember, this was just June this year, so we started off with savethewhales.org. Let's move you through this. In Portugal, Beers One Foundation, UK, Cetacean Society International. You can give a horror if you like. CMEPS, NABU in Germany, Morgan, Orca Research Trust. Keep moving through, I won't name more. Look at the global reach. Isn't that pretty amazing? That buys us power, and we have to use that power to help these animals. So we are at 875,292 people in terms of our reach as a partnership. And I'm going to put a request out to you guys, which we may not achieve, and that's fine. But by the end of this conference, I would like the World Cetacean Alliance to be able to have a global reach of 1 million people. Let's see if we can do that. Let's bring in more individual partners, more NGOs, more whale watching companies. Let's see if we can't get to 1 million people. Where is Roger? Roger is our membership secretary. Just stand up for a second, Roger. He is the man to talk to. Okay, so just to finish off, because we're coming into coffee break now, I just want to talk to you very briefly about our early successes. And let's also bear in mind here that we are only 6 months old. So all of that has been achieved in just 6 months. Imagine the future. So I, first of all, just want to really thank all of the current partners, because you have been absolutely amazing, very tolerant when I, as a secretariat, haven't done things as quickly as I would have liked to have done them. I think our conversations have been absolutely incredible. It's all working so well, you're making it easy for us. So the first thing, collaborative spirit, respect and positive attitude. That has been just absolutely amazing within the partnership. Not a single argument has occurred between the partner within the WCA, as far as I'm aware, which is fantastic. Long may it continue. We are starting to be taken seriously by funders as an alliance, as a partnership, even though we are so young. I think that's very, very encouraging. The sharing of our ideas and advice amongst the partners is something that all partners are really starting to benefit from, which is really great. Using the partnership's reach to spread the word of campaigns. Partners are constantly pushing out through the Alliance their own campaigns and the campaigns that we agree. We're using the network to be able to spread the message and spread the word, which is really exciting. Sure, we can do it better, we can do more, but we're doing it. Working groups on some of the issues like captivity and Mary's dolphin extinction problem are making progress. We are moving forward. We are, and we'll be shortly talking about this, running a global outreach program. We are asking the public and all other stakeholders for their views. We want them to be involved on these issues, and we're learning from that. We'll come on to that after the break. We are growing rapidly. We are really growing rapidly, which is amazing. And we have international backing to partners campaigns supported by the WCA. So it's not just about the campaigns that the WCA agrees. We, as an international unit, are able to say, agree and support individual partners' campaigns, and that is really helpful to them. They're able to go to the relevant people they're talking to and say, it's not just us, but we are backed by a global partnership. And that is the end of that story. Thank you very much for listening to it. We'll have time for discussion and conversation about this as we move through, but I realise we're moving into the coffee break, so if we could be back at 11:45, please, folks. Oh, one question from Torsten.
I just wanted to say, people who have ordered tickets for the Blackfish screening, please get to me now.
Okay, so if you didn't hear that, if you've ordered tickets for the Blackfish screening, please go and see Torsten over by the flags at the window there now.